Hello, my name is Adriana Gomez. I want to speak about international money market. Basel III. Basel III was designed to substantially strengthen the regulatory capital framework and increase the capital and bank capital. However, studies found unacceptable wide variation in risk-weighted assets across banks that could not be explained. In reaction of this, on December 7, 2017, the Basel Commitment associated additional reforms to Basel III that seeks to restore credibility in the calculation of risk-weighted assets and improve the comparability of bank capital ratios. The currency market is an external banking system that turns parallel to the domestic banking system of the country that issues the currency. Both banking systems seek deposit and make loans to customers from the deposit funds. The rate charged by banks with excess funds is referenced to as the interbank offered rate. The spread is generally 10 to 12 basic points. Rates on currency deposits are quoted for maturities ranging from 1 day to year. A currency is a time deposit of money in an international bank located in a country different than the issuer's the currency. The depository bank could be in Europe, the Caribbean, or Asia. Those communist countries were afraid of depositing their US dollar in US bank for fear that deposit could be frozen or taken. Instead, they deposit their dollars in French bank, whose telex address was Eurobank. Since that time, dollar deposits outside to the United States have been called euro-dollar, and banks accepting euro currency deposits have been called eurobanks. ICE LIBOR. Every trading day in London, the ICE Benchmark Administration IVA fixes the London Interbank Offer Rate LIBOR for 5 currencies: USD, GBP, EUR, CHF, JPY, for 7 different maturities. ICE LIBOR serves as the primary daily benchmark used by bank, securities house, and investors to set payments on at least $350 trillion in the international money, derivatives, and capital market around the world. London Interbank Offered Rates (LIBOR) is a reference rate in London for a currency deposit. There is a LIBOR for euro-dollar, euro-Canadian dollar, euro-G, and even euro. Euro-credit are short to medium-term loans of currency extended by Eurobank to corporations, sovereign governments, non-prime banks, or international organizations. The loans are denominated in currency other than the home currency of the Eurobank, because these loans are frequently too large for a single bank to handle. Eurobanks will band together to form a bank lending syndicate to share the risk, the great risk of lending euro credits. The great risk on this loan is greater than on loan to other banks in the interbank market. Thus, this interest rate on euro credits must compensate the banks or banking syndicates for at great risk. Forward rate agreement, a major risk Eurobank face in accepting euro deposit and extending euro credits, and its interest rate risk resulting from a mismatch in the maturities of the deposit and credits, such that a forward rate agreement is an interbank contract that allows the Eurobank to hedge the interest rate risk in mismatched deposit credits. And FRA involved two parties: a buyer who agrees to pay the seller the increased interest cost on national amount if interest rate fall below the agreement rates, and a seller who agrees to pay the buyer the increased interest cost if interest rate increase above the agreement rate. The Rotten Heart of finances. The theory LIBOR is supposed to be a pretty honest number because it is assumed for a start that banks play by the rules and give faithful estimates. The market is also sufficiently small that most banks are presumed to know what the others are doing. The system is broadened. First, it is based on banks' estimates rather than the actual price at which banks have lent to or borrowed from one another. A second problem is that those involved in setting the rates have often had every incentive to lie, since their banks stood to profit or lose money depending on the level at which LIBOR was set each day. Eurotone are short-term notes underwritten by a group of international investment or commercial banks called a facility. Eurotones are sold at a discount from face value and pay back the full face value at maturity, half maturity from 3 to 6 months. The bank finds them attractive to issue because they earn a small fee from the underwriting or supply the funds and earn the interest return. Euro commercial paper is an unsecured short-term promissory note issued by a corporation or a bank and placed directly with the investment public through a dealer. Euro commercial paper is sold at discount from face value maturity range from 1 to 6 months. Euro-dollar interest rate futures contracts. Futures contracts are traded on many different underlying assets. One important contract is the euro-dollar interest rate future traded on the CME groups of exchange and the Singapore Exchange. Other euro currency futures contracts that trade are Euro-Yen, Euro-Swiss, and Euro, and the Euribor contract. International debt crisis. Principal define some banking behavior. First, avoid an owner concentration of loan to single activities, individual or groups. 2. Expand cautiously into familiar activities. 3. Know your counterparty. 4. Control mismatches between asset and liability. 5. Be aware that your collateral is not vulnerable to the same shock that weakened the borrower. Remain as relevant today as in early times. Debt for equity swaps is the sales of sovereign debt for US dollar to investors wishing to make equity investment in debt nation. As part of debt rescheduling agreement amongst the bank lending syndicates and the debtor nation, creditor banks will sell their loan for US dollar at discount from face value to multinational deciding to make equity investment in subsidiaries of local firms in the less developed countries. And less developed countries' central bank would buy the bank from a multinational at a smaller discount than the multinational pay, but in a local currency. Solution: Brandy bonds. Brandy bonds were created in 1989 by Nicholas F. Brandy to solve the international debt crisis of the time. They are loans converted into collateralized bonds with a reduced interest rate devised to solve the international debt crisis in the late 1980s. Brandy's solution was to offer creditor banks one of three alternatives. First alternative was converted their loans to market-stable bonds with a face value equal to 65% of the original loan amount. 2. Convert the loan into collateralized bonds with a reduced interest rate on 65%, or lend additional funds to allow the debtor nations to get on their feet.